New York for Electric Zoo. I actually had the privilege of attending Electric Zoo's first year when you played on the main stage.
Right.
How do you think the festival has progressed in the only few short years, as well as EDM culture as a whole?
Well, I think as a first, the festival has become way bigger.
Huge.
When it started out, the main stage was so like kind of the only area. There were like 2 tents, I believe.
2 times,
Two
yeah.
tents, and now there's like this whole big thing going on.
Yeah.
Production has gone from a little bit of lights and LED what they had then to like full scale production right now. So also in terms of lineups, everybody's playing, which is great. EDM, dance music as a whole in the States I think has become the major youth culture music, and not only youth culture because it dates back to so long ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost 3 decades now that you actually see this whole sort of, this name tag of like rock, hip hop, dance music has become one of the big ones.
Yeah, now it's everyone.
Yeah.
My dad listens to dance
Right,
music
there you
too
go.
sometimes.
Yeah, it covers a lot of ground right now. The only thing I do hope for this music, because it's growing so fast right now, that it also rids itself of the how can I say it in a nice way? Oh crap, that's out there, Yeah, that's nice.
Very true.
But because there's so much stuff that is, you can have like 50 tracks lined up and they all sound exactly the same. And that is the one thing that we need to get a step away from. It's like people need to start, thinking for themselves again, and not anymore like, okay, what did the other guy do? Oh, let's make a record just that sounds like that. People talk about the sound of today, the sound of now, not anymore like, like 10 years ago we talked about that's the sound of Paul Oakenfold and that's the sound of Sasha. There were like distinct musical tastes, and right now it's the sound of now. What is that? I want to go back to, I hope it goes back to the sound of that person and the sound of that person and everything becoming sort of like distinct again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of, EDM changing in the States, you are going to host the full-on stage at Tomorrow World very soon. So what do you think that's going to be like, and who are you most excited to play with?
I'm actually really excited. That sounds corny, but I'm excited to play with everybody because everybody plays a key role in what the stage is going to be like the whole day. It's going to be trancey, but slightly some elements are more housey, like Audience, for example. So, which makes it very exciting for me because on the one hand I have to be on my toes with the trance sound. On the other hand, I have to start getting really creative with a more housey sound. So it's cool. What people can expect is a good old jam session because I play back to back with everybody.
Yeah.
All those different genres. But the cool thing is that I don't know what those people are playing. So it's like that, and we'll see. We just dive into it, and we'll take it wherever we take it, really. And then the next one who comes in, because I play back to back with everybody at the end of their set, and introducing the new guy. So the new guy will have to think like, okay, this has just been played. What am I gonna start with now? So it's sort of steps away from the whole sort of, prepared.
Feel each other out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a more organic set throughout the whole day.
And lastly, what was your best show, and where is your favorite city or country to play in your opinion?
My favorite country to play in, but that's also because I love the country itself, is Australia. I just love Australia. It's very chilled, it's very relaxed. The people are really, really cool. But the crowd is just mental. They're really crazy. They have this rugby culture, and they use that sort of thing in at the festivals. They stack each other up 3-4 high, and go nuts.
And the energy is great.
Absolutely crazy. So I love playing there. Best show this year was Lebanon, DC. I think one of our first new punk shows at Madison Square Garden. That must have been one of the highlights for me, and I think I can also speak for Marcus. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hi. Well, speaking of Tomorrow World, how do you think that with ID&T and Tomorrow World, how do you think that'll translate into the United States?
Well, there's a big U.S. body behind the whole ID&T thing, obviously. So what I know is that they're going to be very similar to the one in Belgium, and that that festival alone, in terms of production and logistics and everything, blows everything else out of the water, really. So, I keep my fingers crossed that it's going to be the same. If so, then you guys are in for a treat. Yes.
Will you be having a live stream from your stage again, like you did at Tomorrowland?
I know there's some talk about radio. I'm not really sure who's going to do it, but there might be a big chance that there's something streaming. Yeah.
So obviously you just came back from Lebanon 2 weeks ago in the Middle East. You had a really successful gig, as I heard, and people send me pictures, and it's all over Facebook and Instagram and everything. When is your next visit to the Middle East? And you, as an artist, as an international artist, you should be recommending other fellow artists to come to the Middle East, obviously, because it's a war zone, as most of people say. Your own words could make a lot of change to other people coming and performing in Lebanon itself, as it was #1 ranked by CNN for parties in the Middle East. So
I would definitely agree with you. Beirut is an amazing city. It's always, back in the day, it was always dubbed as the Paris of the Middle East, and it still has that sort of kind of charm to it. If you look at the country as, geographically, it's like, and people-wise, it's like half Muslim, half Christian. So there's not that strict. It's not strict at all. It's a full-on party country. If you talk about the Middle East, of course, there's different sides to it. There's Lebanon and
Dubai.
But there's Dubai as well, which is the next place I'm actually going to. I'm going to be part of the opening of a new club in October. So I don't know when I'm going to be back in
October.
Yeah, but I'm not sure when I'm back in Beirut, because I usually do it once a year. But yeah.
So you obviously give a word to your fellow artists to go and.
Really, the news is just the news, and if something here in the States happens in San Francisco, doesn't mean that Chicago is dangerous. And that's the way I look at it. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
Do you think you have the best hair in trance?
Serious question. It's very serious, Terry.
I don't know. I might have a different look of hair in trance, but I don't know.
Who do you think has the best hair in trance?
Ferry
Corsten. I mean, you and Armin, you're like neck and neck.
I think you do. I think you can say
I'll leave
yes.
it up to you, alright?
You top it off. You top it off with the hair.
You can say yes.
Alright. Thank you. Alright.
Yes.
Very good.
All right, no, we settled that. Thanks.
Nice one.
So what's next for New World Punks? I know Marcus is here on Sunday, but I don't know if you'll run into him. But
I won't, because I'm going to be in San Diego and LA on Sunday. But next for New York Punks is Romania next week. It's a big outdoor stadium, like an arena, where we're going to be playing, which I'm really looking forward to. And then we are actually finalizing a tour for November here in the States. So
can we?
More news soon, because I don't know the exact date.
Will we see a full-length album ever?
I don't know. First of all, we need, we had Romper as like a first experiment, put it out on as a free download, as the first single. We are actually working on a couple of ideas right now, and it usually goes through Dropbox and Google Drive, back and forth, wherever Marcus is in the world, and so it's not always together. Mm-hmm. So we're working on stuff, but the album will probably be in a long while from now.
I was going to say, how do you normally find time to collab? Is it normally virtually, or do you find time to meet together in a studio, or what's the process of that?
Sometimes we make time out. We make time to do that. For example, EDC Vegas. We both stayed a few days, and we rented out a studio there and just work from there. But very often it's just we have this it's on Google Drive. We have this folder together where we just we just dump stuff in, and then get a text message from Mark like, hey, I have some new idea, and I'll look in the Dropbox folder or the Google Drive folder, and here, and then I continue working with it. So it just goes back and forth really, and yeah, that's how it goes most of the time. All right, thank you.
You have your daughter,
Yeah.
and you have a family, and you have a rigorous schedule, and I feel like just personally watching you, it's constant. You're always everywhere. How does it? Do you see yourself being able to continue juggling that, or?
For the next while, yeah. It's having a little one doesn't make it easier now, because it's it was already a lot of flying before, and then when she came around, it was flying even more, because where I would normally do 3 weeks in the States or in South America or something. You know, right now I just do the same thing, but in between I'll fly back and back again. You know, so it's definitely tough, but I make it a real effort to make Papa Day, as we call it. You know, it's normally when I'm back home in the studio, but on a Wednesday afternoon it's her day. It's like she's free from school, so I'll take her out and we do nice things.
Do you see yourself being able to bring her along when she gets older? Is it something that you can turn into a trip, or?
We actually had this Ibiza season with the full-on nights. As a pre-party, I'm playing at Café Del Mar, which where I play during the sunset. So I play real mellow, chill-out stuff, and the girls were with me, this year, and it's really cute. I actually, for the first time, I brought her out to Café Del Mar, and she could actually see Papa doing, because she knows Papa makes music. That's what she knows, right? So this time she could see it, and we had these little protective earphones for her, so pink, of course. So it was great. And,
So she's a future critique.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I wanted to go back to your sound. You talked about gabber. Could you explain what that is exactly?
Gabber, right now it's more known as hardstyle.
Okay.
But back in the day it was like 180 BPM, like real hard, real fast, everything distorted. So just it's like trash really. But but it was the biggest thing out there in Holland. And,
all right. Well, I wanted to ask, it's a two-part question. You went with aliases earlier. I think a notable alias was Moonman and also System F.
Right.
Is there a story behind why you chose those names?
Yeah, well, before I had my own label, before I was DJing, I was producing music only, right? But I was producing so fast and so much music that it was just too much for one label to handle.
Right.
So since every label at the time, it's different now. Now you see one artist on Ferry's label. But back then it was just, every label would have a certain exclusivity on a name. Mm-hmm. So if you would sign a certain project on a certain artist name with that label, they would have exclusive rights to that name. Okay. So, but I would just do too much for just that label. So I would, release my music with that label. So, but since that name was already reserved with them, I had to come with a new name. So that's why I ended up with so many pseudonyms. And then when I had my own label, I had no artist yet. So I did the same thing, but then on my own label. So, all back in the day, my label was Tsunami Records. All the first releases were all different names, but it was all me. I was producing all that music just under different names, so it looked like, wow, Tsunami has like a big roster of artists, right? So the effect was all me. So that's basically in a nutshell why I had so many different names.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you're like the mystery man.
Mystery man, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've come to the mask.
You're great, Ferry.
Right, thank you guys.
Keep up the good work.
Anybody?
I think we don't want to pick you up from Ezoo. We still want to see you there, right?
We each got a picture. That was fantastic.
Yeah, we're get pictures.
Besides being a completely badass artist, you were also the first DJ in 2008 to be named the Ambassador of Freedom by the Dutch Liberation Day community. Could you tell us the story behind that?
It's like every year in commemoration of the Second World War and the liberation of that. This Liberation Committee in Holland appoints, I believe, 4 different artists. Could be bands, could be solo artists, to perform on one day. I think they have in every province, there are 13. They have like a big event outside, and there's 4 artists do 3 to 4 shows. The army flies them around in a helicopter, on a helicopter. So, but of course there's a message that you have to bring across, and for that year they picked me, and it was they never had a DJ before, so I was like, oh, that's really cool. First of all, I get to fly in an army helicopter, then I get to play for so many people, and then I have to bring across that message. In the end, it was pretty cool, to actually